from sunny Pullman, two of the four best teams in the country converge. All eyes on Stanford and Washington State from sold-out Bowler Gymnasium. And alongside the former Cougar center, Nicole Rigoni, I'm AJ Cannell. Nicole, this is a top 5 matchup here today in Bowler, but it really feels like even more than that.
We are replicating a Final Four matchup in here. Both teams are searching for a national championship, but Washington State is really trying to prove that they belong.
They've been building this thing for a long time under head coach Jen Greeny, and they are here. But first, let's start with Stanford, led by Cami Miner at the setting position.
She can attack in the front row, and when it's her time to score, she can do it. But what makes her so special is she puts these hitters in the best situation possible to score. And on the other side, Argentina Un, Jen Greeny calls her a silent assassin. She is such a savvy setter, and she finds ways to make her hitters shine as well.
They both do things in such different ways, but they're both so effective, and Miner leads the nation in assists per set. Now, who will Miner and Un be feeding? There are some great hitters on both sides. Let's start in the middle for Washington State, Magda Yahalajeva.
An exceptional blocker, but one thing she's added to her game is this slide attack that may cause some problems for the Stanford defense.
She's so great in all aspects of the game. From the middle blocking position, leads the conference in hitting percentage, .451. Magda Yahalajeva out of the Czech Republic. And then for Stanford, Kendall Kipp, the reigning conference player of the year.
There isn't an opposite in the nation that can do what she does. She scores from the front row, she scores from the back row. Her serving is a weapon when she is behind that service line. They both have so many attackers, and it's going to be a thrilling match.
Both teams hit over 400 in their most recent match. Will it be an offensive display, or will some really talented defensive players gain some traction? Number 3, Stanford. Number 4, Washington State. Here from Pullman, Washington, coming up straight ahead. Stanford, number 4, Washington State. First ever top 5 matchup in the sport of volleyball on the campus of Washington State University with Nicole Rigoni, AJ Cannell. Teams just about set to go. We covered some ground off the top, but some other players to watch. Just talk about veteran, 5th-year outside hitters that know what they're doing every step of the way. Katie Baird, Pia Timmer on each side, and then some great liberos as well. Elena Ogilvie for Stanford, Carly Basham for Washington State.
A little bit about Katie Baird. Kevin Hambley says, we go as Katie goes. So both teams have a game plan that is exactly the same, which is surprising because I have never had 2 coaches tell me the exact same thing. They both have 3 different pins that are incredible, and so they need to stop 2 of them and limit their offensive production.
It's hard to stop either of these teams, but maybe a chance to contain someone. We'll see who does best. First point of this top 5 matchup, it's Katie Ryan for Washington State.
Getting Katie Ryan going like that is going to be huge for Washington State, opening up the offense. The Stanford side will have to honor that opposite, just like Washington's going to have to honor Kendall Kipp.
Cougs wearing white, the Cardinal in black today on the road. Kipp takes a couple of cracks at it. Now it's Timmer, easily handled by Ogilvie. Rubin tips for the point. Stanford had its issues with Washington, an undermanned team on Friday, but Kevin Hambley was saying he felt still pretty comfortable throughout that matchup, despite dropping their first set of league play, because they're able to side out efficiently. Tight to the net for Timmer.
You mentioned siding out efficiently. Well, the name of the game at any level is serving and passing. You have to be able to have good ball control when you're on the receiving side of the serve, but you have to be able to attack from the service line as well.
You have a couple of veteran teams with a ton of chemistry and really versatile pin hitters that are great at passing the ball in general. Isanovich, the transfer from Arizona State, looking for contact, but it's called out. And a wide-eyed look back toward Jen Greeny early in this match from Iman Isanovich in her graduate transfer year from ASU. There is Jen Greeny, 13th year as the head coach for Washington State. Both her and Kevin Hambly have won Coach of the Year twice in the Pac-12. And they've been responsible for the Coach of the Year honors each of the last 2 years. Kevin Hambly is the reigning Coach of the Year. Jen Greeny won it a couple of seasons ago. Isanovich reaching back for that one. On a slide, an improved area of Yahalajeva's game that you talked about.
Well, when they first got Magda Yahalajeva, she was not able to run the slide at all. She could really only run anything in front of the setter, so expanding that into her game has been a huge piece for Washington State's offense.
The Cougars with their highest ranking in program history. Number 4 overall. Facing number 3 Stanford. A 23-match conference winning streak for the Cardinal. And that's a kill by McKenna Vicini, an underrated middle for Stanford.
That's exactly right. I was talking to Kevin Hambly earlier this match. I said, McKenna Vicini does so much. He's like, yeah, if we don't have her going and she is not producing and pulling off the numbers that she can, we're not the same team.
Isanovich thunders it home.
This Washington State team is playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder right now. They are jumping just a little bit higher. They are digging the ball just a little bit better than they typically do.
Back row. See the hitter,
Tough set to handle for Barrett. She does at least keep Stanford in the point. Ryan tools, but a diving play by Ogilvy. Now back to Baird. Goes off the block. Options for Ung. It's Ryan rifling it down. Katie Ryan, a late bloomer, Nicole, from the right side, who was a former high school basketball player.
She has been a diamond in the rough for this Washington State program, and she has developed incredibly. Her production on that opposite side is going to be a big deal for Washington State's offense.
Cami Minor, second ball over, always something to be wary of.
I love watching Minor attack. She disguises that left hand so well, and at the last second is able to score.
She now moves into the back row, which takes away a little bit her ability to do that. They go Ryan from the middle. It's all about Katie Ryan in the early going, 3 for 4 for the Cougars.
Katie Ryan coming out of the middle, causing some issues for the Stanford block.
That's an early wrinkle from the Cougars. Effective serve by Isanovich. A left side swing for Kip, who's there in this rotation. And they block Timmer. Yeah, so much attention on the offenses, but it could come down today to who digs and blocks better. Low set for Timmer. Recovery by Ung, so second ball, the libero Basham. Now it's Ryan again, even out of system. Katie Ryan has it going, 4 for 5.
Katie Ryan is making it look easy on that opposite side. I am sure in her head she's thinking, hey, I am a really great opposite too. She's going up against Kendall Kipp, and so she wants to prove that she can hang at this level as well.
Stanford pin hitters are great blockers, Nicole. And a lot of fearlessness being shown right now from the junior Katie Ryan. Sent back the other way. It's a kill for Elia Rubin, the standout sophomore out of Brentwood, California. It's Magda.
It is so important that Washington State gets their middles going right away. Argentina Un giving the ball to Magda, causing her to have just one up and finding the floor.
On the combo, Elia Rubin. There's just so much firepower all the way across the net on both sides.
That was a great set from Cami Miner. She gave Elia Rubin an in-system ball, and the speed is starting to show up on the Stanford side.
Something's got to give here. Stanford unbeaten on the road this year, 8-0. Washington State a perfect 8-0 at home. 23-match conference winning streak for Stanford. A 14-match winning streak this year coming into this matchup for Washington State. Back to Rubin, power tip, and it's over the back line and a side out.
Right idea by Elia Rubin. That spot on the court is open, just a little too much power.
.130 career aces for Pia Timmer. Kip from the back row, a good play, but she misses strong.
The intensity that I'm seeing on the Washington State side is unbelievable. Every single player is so locked in, and they are making exceptional plays early on in this match.
Nicole, you played for Washington State. How do you describe the culture and the identity surrounding this program that they've been able to build this type of winner in Pullman, Washington?
Well, they play with a lot of grit, and Jen Greeny was telling me that we like being the underdog. We like having it where the other team is counting us out. Well, now everybody knows that they're one of the best teams in the country, so they're kind of finding out how to deal with being number 4 in the country.
And still that chip remains on the shoulder, even with the high national ranking. It's wide from Timmer. Assistant coach, associate head coach Burdette Greeny making the point, well, they have been doubting us. They weren't with us to begin with, so why should we buy that they're with us now in terms of the better ranking and the more attention that the Cougars are receiving? Free ball here at best, and Norville gets it over. Dug out well by Basham, the Texas A&M transfer. It's Baird going cross court. Stanford making Washington State think twice about where they were going.
One of Katie Baird's best shots is that hard cross. Watch Katie Baird on the other side in black. Thumb down, textbook, left side attack.
Missed serve there, but you saw the depth of the Stanford offense on the previous point, running a back one for Vicini, then coming back and blast down with Katie Baird, the 5th year outside hitter. Stanford ranks 3rd in the nation, 2nd in the conference behind Arizona State in hitting percentage. Washington State is 3rd in attack percentage. That was a pancake attempt there from Magda, who had 7 digs in Washington State's win, most recently against Cal.
But what a smart play by McKenna Vicini. She saw that Magda was back there serving, coming in to play defense, so she throws an off-speed shot to try and get her off balance.
Ties the first set up at 12. Pounded off the block, it plops down. So a kill for Isanovic, graduate student from Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Assistant coach Shannon Hunt was telling me a little bit about Iman, and when they got her into this program, they were like, she's played at this level already. She already knows how to handle this, and she has stepped into this outside role and done a phenomenal job for the Cougs.
Heard that she's very thankful now to be on this side of the crowd here in Bowler. Big time rip from Kendall Kipp.
The beginning of this match has really shown how powerful these offenses are. There's not a lot of rallies going on because both these hitters and attackers are swinging very tough.
It's been super clean so far. Totally as advertised for a top 5 matchup, as I say it. A shank pass and an ace. But Cami Miner is a very talented server. Stanford by a point in the first set with the 15-point timeout looming. Strutted down by Katie Ryan, who's now 5 for 6 in the early going.
A triple block on Katie Ryan in this play. Watch the Stanford block. Doesn't matter. Katie Ryan gets it done.
Ryan out of Rathdrum, Idaho. That went on the wrong side of the antenna and out anyway. So a point for Washington State. And this is as close as it could be going into the first media timeout. Washington State by a point, top 5 matchup in Pullman. It's the first set. Got the Cougar Band blasting away, a great rendition of the national anthem pre-match in this standing room only sold out crowd. It was sold out as of Tuesday, and Stanford head coach Kevin Hambly said he was looking forward to this environment. He wanted all the smoke from these Washington State fans.
It replicates what down the road could potentially be for the Stanford team. The big crowds, the big environment. So he wants to put his players in the best environment possible to replicate that for what they're shooting for is a national title.
He told us coming into the weekend that his team is in refinement mode right now. They're cleaning up the little odds and ends and the details. They feel really good in the basics and the overall construction of the roster. Washington State, a net violation there. Of course, we discussed at length. We had the call on Friday in Alaska Airlines Arena, but Sammy Francis is out for the weekend, at least for Stanford. Hitting .426 and averaging 1.2 blocks per set. Francis is a weapon in the middle. In her place is Malia Tufunga, who is really more of a utility player by trade, but has done an admirable job filling in.
She has played pretty much every position you possibly can imagine for that Stanford side. At one point, she even set when Cammie Minor was a little questionable. So her being a utility player is coming in clutch for Stanford.
Annabelle Smith also out for the season, so they're down to Tufunga in the middle. And a get Kip there. Magda and company roofing Kendall Kip, the reigning player of the year.
A huge block for the Washington State defense. Watch 15 in white reach over. And a stuff block for Magda. You're going to hear her name all night long when it comes to blocking.
Does Timmer get the block assist there? She was like 2 feet away.
She does. She does.
Excellent effort by 2 Cougars. It was with the dig, Timmer with the save. Now Elia Rubin blasts it down again. Timmer was there. The Timmers got a swing, shoved back down in the Cougars' face. What a recovery and a swing on the third ball, backing away by Isanovich. Finally, Stanford ends the point off the diving effort by Maybe a moral victory there for Washington State despite losing the point. What an effort.
Some beautiful defensive plays on the Washington State side. When rallies get going in matches like that, those are the kind of digs that you need to show up for in a top 5 matchup.
And after all that, a miscommunication on the Ogilvy serve. On top of all the other things that Stanford does well, they're a great serving team. Things all start with the serve and pass in this sport, and Stanford is so good in both of those categories. Ogilvy again. This time Isanovich handles. Run the quick for Magda Yahalajeva. When they're in system, Yahalajeva at over 450 is tough to stop.
Would love to continue to see Washington State have some production out of the middle, so Stanford has to honor the middle, and Magda will make her presence known.
Both of these teams took international trips this past summer. Stanford actually played a match against the Czech national team and Magda Yahalajeva. Basham on the floor for the save. The German outside hitter Timmer with the swing. That's where you can feel that pressure as the opposing team, with the student section bearing down on you. Washington State by 2 late in the first set. Julia Norville, the outstanding DS, had to serve. Containing Kip so far. She has 2 kills and 2 errors, and shoved off the block by Timmer.
I mentioned earlier that both these teams are going to jump a little bit higher. They're going to press a little bit harder. They're going to play defense a little bit better, and you can feel the intensity in this gym on Stanford's side and on Washington State's side.
Kevin Hambly calls timeout. Washington State takes a set best 3-point lead right now. Cougars hitting 375, holding the Cardinal offense to 214. And as mentioned during that point, Kendall Kipp, the reigning player of the year and offensive player of the week, is right now 2 for 8 with 2 errors. What do you make of that matchup thus far in terms of defending Kipp?
This is exactly what Washington State wants. They want to contain one of their 3 main hitters, and if they can contain Kendall Kipp, it could be a quick night for Stanford.
It's hard to contain Kendall Kipp, though.
Absolutely, you are so right. But if she has an off night, Washington State's going to take advantage of that. But Stanford has so many other weapons. Other players that have to step up are McKenna Vicini, Katie Baird, and Elia Rubin. They have the ability to carry that load and get Kendall Kipp back into the game.
We asked Kevin Hambly about Kendall Kipp this year, and it's almost along the lines of you win Player of the Year in the Pac-12. How do you continue to get better from there? And the answer was, it's the little things. It's working out the finer points, back row attacking. She's gotten a lot better at hitting the D ball from the back row, the right side back swing. She's gotten better at the high ball, the higher sets. And it's an all-around game right now by Kendall Kipp, although struggling to start today.
And another thing that she's gotten better at is her serving. When she's back there at the end line, she is going after it. She's looking for aces.
Cardinal right now need a good serve receive against Julia Norville, who has 111 career aces. 5th year, COVID year player for Washington State. They have a whole big group of those players that are playing their extra year as Timmer gets stuffed this time. The combination of Kipp and McKenna Vicini.
A solid Stanford block. That is an area where Kevin Hambly has been really working with this group to be fantastic at.
Kendall Kipp recently had a career best 8 aces in a 3-set win over Arizona. And she has a chance for a service run here as Magda Yahalajeva gets blocked. 2 straight Stanford blocks.
Stanford block looks completely in sync. Watch the team in black going up at the same time. 4 hands to face.
Big service miss. That's kind of a crack in the armor a little bit for Stanford. They're an aggressive serving team. They come up with a lot of aces, but they miss nearly 4 serves per set. Big number of points that they just give away. I'm sure Coach Hambly likes the aggressive approach overall, and it's there for a reason. Back row Kipp, tips Magda, hung up there long enough. The block from Yahalajeva.
How fun was that block? At the last second, Magda just throws it down. Hanging, waiting for it. Nope, not today.
Stanford uses its final timeout of the first set. How hard is that to block a tip, stay up there just long enough? Like, I guess it's easier if you're 6'3" and you got all that wingspan, but still.
That, and she's a great jumper. So she's hanging, she's waiting, and at the very last second, throws it down.
Let's take a look back at the last time in this historically dominant series owned by Stanford. The last time that Washington State won a match, and you were in a Cougar uniform that day in 2016.
Well, the environment was exactly like the way it is in Bowler, and you have to come in and play out of your mind against a Stanford team, and that's what this group did. And they really had some exceptional blocking, and that's really what brought this victory.
I mean, the type of players that Stanford has had over the last decade and even extending beyond that, you think about the weapons Stanford is known for. In that match, Stanford hit 117. Washington State hit 133. It was just an all-out defensive game.
It was the blocking, it was the digging. We had teammates running up into the stands to keep the ball alive. There was so much intensity on the defensive attack, on the defensive plays. And what do they say? Offense sells tickets, defense wins games. It is exactly true.
You want to know what type of match that was? Kyra Holt led all attackers with 17 kills. She also had 19 errors in that game, but you guys still brought it home in that one. And since then, though, it's been all Stanford. Stanford has won 11 straight, 34 out of 35 in this series. The 73rd all-time matchup. Stanford is 68-4. All four of those wins for Washington State have come here in Pullman. Coming off of Stanford's final first set timeout. Vicini tips it all the way home in the corner. That had some arc on it.
A very smart play by Vicini. The corners of the court are open on any defense in the country. She had great eyes in this attack. Watch her just let it drop, painting the lines.
It was like a layup there from Vicini. Keeps Stanford in the set for now. Tough serve by Elia Rubin. Pretty nice set by Pasha. Now Baird, a low cross.
That play only happens by libero Elena Olgavi chasing down the high ball off the hands for Stanford. A beautiful dig. Katie Baird going after her favorite angle, cross court.
Isanovich off the block and out. Washington State gets the key side out.
What a set by Argentina. Pushing that ball completely across the court and finding number 5, Iman.
Ong started her career as a reserve hitter. She's adjusted so well, being asked to step up into the setting position, was quickly elevated into the national team starting setter role for Team Mexico after converting to a setter at the collegiate level. A kill from Katie Baird down the line that time. Baird now with 3 kills, hitting .333 in the first set. Stanford back within 1. Could they steal the first set? They have a chance. It's now tied at 23, and Jen Greeny uses one of her 2 remaining timeouts.
Perfect time to call a timeout. They're tied up. They got to talk some things over, talk about strategy. Pia Timmer knows that the ball's coming to her. The next play, the ball's coming to her. She just has to put up a good pass so they can run their offense.
How difficult is that when you know it's such a crucial situation, you know exactly what's going to happen, and you got to execute against a tough serve.
You dig in, you don't put too much pressure on yourself. You make sure that she doesn't have to have a perfect pass in this moment. She just needs a good pass so Argentina can do her thing and they can run their offense. She knows how to pass the ball. This is a moment that she's been in multiple times in her career. She's a professional. That's
one of the special things, Nicole, about this matchup. Just the sheer number of veterans and the amount of experience on each side. Stanford returned 100% of its matches started from last year. Stanford's got 9 upperclassmen, including 6 seniors and 5th-year players. Washington State, they have 12 players in either the senior, 5th year, or graduate category. All these different players who came back for the COVID 5th year. Magda Yahalajeva, Pia Timmer, Isanovich transferring over from Arizona State, and so on. And there's a lot of experience to rely upon for these moments.
They've been in these matches all year long. This group came back because they wanted to do what was unthinkable at the Washington State program. They want to be in these matches. They're searching for a national title. So this is exactly where they want to be. 23-23 in a top 5 matchup. Who's going to get this first set?
Well, the margins are so small in a matchup with teams like this that have so much talent. It's tied at 23 in the first set, and they block Isanovich. Featured prominently was Malia Tafunga, the fill-in utility player, with Sammy Francis out. She gets Stanford to set point. Into the net. And we go deuce in the first set.
Katie Ryan checking into the game for Washington State. A huge opposite pin hitter for them. Stanford looking to side out from a tough serve coming from Argentina.
Cougars have had the lead by a slim margin most of the way in this first set. Now they have a set point.
That all goes back to the serve from Argentina. Un putting up a tough ball for Stanford to handle. Lots of float on this ball. Iman taking advantage of that overpass.
Right back to Rubin. She handles it this time. Now Baird through the block. One arm save by Ung. Isanovic for the set. Down on her knees. Rubin kept it alive. Now Baird off the block. It's one-handed by Timmer. Isanovic, it's dug out cleanly by Ogilvy. Kip rolls it over. Big chance for Washington State. Ryan hits out. No touch as Paula Martin shakes her head up top on the referee stand.
What a rally by both these teams. Katie Ryan looking for the touch here. There was not a touch on that ball.
Jen Gurney electing not to use one of her 2 challenges. Tied at 25 in the first set. Best 3 out of 5. Back to Isanovic.
Asanovic is fired up. She does not care who is in front of her on the Stanford block. Even if it's out of system, watch her swing on this ball, finding the hole between the Stanford block.
And now Isanovic, who led Arizona State in aces last year, is the one that's back to serve. Tough low serve, handled nicely. It's Kip off the top of the block and down. It's 26 all. You wouldn't have this any other way, right? We had so much expectation coming into this matchup, and now deep into deuce in the first set.
This is exactly the way we wanted it to go, and this is replicating that Final Four experience here in Bowler Gym.
Look at the student section bearing down on the server, and they get the missed serve from Katie Baird.
Washington State wants this match. This program wants this match. The fans want this match. They're trying to make this a hostile environment for Stanford.
Paying it back for those donuts that Jen Greeny bought them. The students that were waiting in line early this morning. Kendall Kip. Cougars control it. Ryan. Outside, Rubin. Down on Stanford's side. Handled by Kip. Rubin again. Block put out.
Elia Rubin's been a little quiet today, but showing up in a big moment.
What a first set this has been. The server is Elena Ogilvy, senior from Honolulu. Magda hammers it home.
I think Stanford must have forgotten about Magda because she was left by herself one-on-one. Magda taking advantage of a perfect set from Argentina Un, slamming it 10-foot line.
I don't know if she showed them that this summer in the Czech national team edition. Maybe she saved that for this moment. On set point again for the Cougars. Just scrapped and saved by Baird down there.
Both teams making some serious plays. The scrappiness is intense. They're doing everything they can to keep this ball alive.
Elia Rubin has 7 kills now. Everyone laying out, but Stanford back on set point. An ace by Kendall Kip. Stanford has 5 first set aces. Washington State with none. Keep in mind, Washington State has a timeout left still. We'll see if Jen Greeny thinks about using it here. She will.
Good call, AJ. I thought it was an appropriate time to use the timeout as well.
Yeah, very rarely you get to 29-28 and someone's got a timeout left in the bag.
I am just so impressed with the defensive plays that both sides are making, especially when it comes to blocking. They're both pressing really hard. They're getting blocked, but the coverage is making this even more intense. When it goes off the hands, their back row is covering the ball and trying to transition and score.
You got to think back to the fundamentals, too, at this stage of the sport. You know, for those that might be slightly less familiar, happen to be tuning in, they see it's a big matchup. At this stage, right, you're at deuce. it comes down to who can scratch through and win some points on their serve. Now that Stanford has won a point on its serve, that means that Washington State not only has to side out to tie the game back up, but eventually they'll have to win multiple points on their serve to win the set. And of course, this is a sport where it's counterintuitive a little bit. Winning on your serve is more difficult than when you're receiving serve.
Absolutely, but if you have a tough server back there, they're just going to go for it.
That can be the equalizer.
It comes down to serving and passing at any level. Whether you're playing in a top 5 matchup like this or you're not even ranked at all, it is passing and serving. Who has the best ball control? And all Washington State needs right now is a solid pass. They don't need a perfect pass. They just need a solid pass. They have a great setter and they have multiple pins that could take on this moment. And Kendall Kipp is an exceptional server on this side for Stanford.
She leads Stanford in aces this year. Goes down the line. What a clutch call by the Washington State bench. And Timmer brought the arms down just in time as the ball sailed long. And the bench will help you out there and call out. We can hear them do that for Timmer. Elia Rubin rattles it off the block. That's pancaked by Norville. And close down the line, kept in on the free ball. Isanovich lunging into the scorer's table, but can't keep it in play, and Stanford back on set point.
They are exchanging attack for attack, and the defense is digging in and making some phenomenal plays on both sides.
Canavicini now 4 for 6 after that kill. Elia Rubin serves it up on set point. Timmer has to play at that time. Now Isanovich blocked, shovels it up. It's a joust. Stanford's got a chance here on set point. Baird going cross court, short angle, and Stanford shuts the door in the first set.
This is one of Katie Baird's favorite swings. She's got an exceptional cross-court ball, and it's in front of the 10-foot line. Wins that first set for the Stanford Cardinal.
31-29. A statement end to that first set by Stanford. Now that's the end of the first set score there. It was 31-29. Stanford, it felt like, Nicole, we were billing this as a top 5 matchup, potential Final Four type of matchup. It felt like it was the 5th set, first of all. Watching the end of that first set, it felt like even something bigger, if it's possible, than it was.
From the start, both these teams knew what this match meant. A potential conference title on the line. Washington State was picked second. Stanford was picked first. So both of them knew that this was going to be a huge match. And now, being ranked number 3 and number 4.
You look at the resumes already for Jen Greeny and Washington State, Kevin Hambley and Stanford. And Stanford already has 3 victories against top 10 opponents. Washington State is facing its 6th ranked opponent, 4-1 against ranked opponents, 3-1 against the top 10.
Bowler is rocking right now. These fans aren't giving up. I love the energy in Bowler. The best way you could replicate a Final Four matchup is the energy that's in this gym.
You know, I think over the course of the weekend we've had a chance to have extensive conversations with both coaching staffs, and ultimately the response was pretty similar when you asked them about bigger goals, Final Four, national championship, that sort of thing. Of course it's in the backs of everyone's minds, and it's something they at times discuss with their teams, especially in sort of a preseason context. What are our goals? You know, that sort of thing before the season. They're coming towards us here, and that's saved off the scorer's table by Elia Rubin. And that's spun somehow in a screwball effort from Thea Timmer. But point being, once the season starts, once you get into the nitty-gritty of all these matchups, especially a matchup like this, you can't really think too far ahead.
No, you can't. And what's funny is that both these teams have different mentalities. Stanford knows that they are going straight for the national title with this group, but Washington State is taking it day by day and game by game.
And the Cougars have the first 2 points of the second set. You know, really, it was so exciting when it got to deuce. And Stanford won the first set 31-29. It was a little bit of a missed opportunity, though, for Washington State in the first set. They had a 3-point lead late, couldn't hold on to it. Carly Basham is the server. Now Elia Rubin. Block right back in her face. She saves it. And a block kick. Yahalajeva over there, sliding over against the player of the year from last year, Kendall Kipp. That's such a great matchup, Magda versus Kipp.
A huge matchup. Watch Magda's eye work here, number 15 at the last second. She presses over. She's got such long arms to be able to make that play.
Opposing head coach Kevin Hambly said that Magda Yahalajeva is maybe the best he's ever seen do it in terms of being a blocker in the middle. Katie Ryan again. 6th kill for the right side hitter. And an early timeout for Stanford. Down by 4. Washington State looks like they responded to the way that first set ended.
Join us Thursday, October 19th at 7 p.m. as we're...
Stanford won 13 sets in a row to begin Pac-12 play, then dropped the second set against Washington after blowing the Huskies out in the first set. It's that pesky thing called human nature, a little bit of a letdown. Is there a chance that's what we're seeing? And that's why Kevin Hambly called timeout after a dramatic 31-29 first set win for Stanford.
One thing he's been focusing on with this group is not letting up. Even when they get the first set, even when they get big points, they can't let up. They got to put their foot on the gas.
And again, tip toward the back corner, talking about how that's usually open, and Elia Rubin found it.
These Stanford hitters are finding the corners and making these off plays into points. Very smart attacking by Stanford.
Cardinal get the first point of the second set for them after Kevin Hambly's early timeout. Now Ogilvie dashes that serve in. Very tight to the net, and Washington State into the net. I think as a consequence of that serve.
And Argentina set Magda a little bit too low in that play. She's got to give her a little bit more space to be able to let Magda be Magda.
Basham takes the second ball. Here's Ryan. Look out, us. Got deflected nearly right in our face, but Katie Ryan is cooking early on. That is her 7th kill on 11 swings.
What a attack by Katie Ryan, going off the block.
Backside, Kendall Kipp with the answer. Kipp also taking home Offensive Player of the Week honors last week. Pretty fitting that she was the Offensive Player of the Week. Magda Yahalajeva was the most recent Defensive Player of the Week, and they go up against each other. Ogilvie all over the place today. 2 Stanford players on the court. Ogilvie again against Timmer. Miner's got to put it over. Stanford playing defense on this point. Now on the slide, Magda off someone's shoulder or face. Finally put away by Ong.
But a little quiet on her attacking, but got the opportunity and decided to score on an excellent angle. Watch Argentina. The ball going off of Elia Rubin, and she finds the floor.
Time swing.
Elia Rubin Loved that. You could even hear it. The click between her and Cami Minor and the ball. A big swing from Elia Rubin. Goes down the line and terminates.
Rubin was the first ever California Gatorade State Player of the Year out of Marymount. The deep ball for Kip, an improved area of her game. Wasn't perfect there, but good enough for the kill.
One of my favorite plays that they put Kendall Kipp in is attacking out of that right back. It makes it really hard for the opposing defense to keep track of all the hitters on Stanford's side.
Oh, Isanovich has got blocked a couple times in a row, this time on the tip attempt. Stanford looking for its 4th point in a row. They got it on the slide, Vicini.
So important that Vicini gets going and has a lot of production in this game. Going off of 1 foot really spreads out this offense and causes some trouble for the Washington State defense.
Good pass by Julia Norville. Isanovich with the kill.
I love the fire that Isanovich has coming out of that outside. When she gets a kill, she is looking at her team and she's like, let's get this going. Let's get it fired up. We are not letting up.
Big part of her decision to transfer here, the familiarity factor coming from Arizona State. Coaches told us she knew what she was getting into coming here, and she was already friends with Maggie Halajeva as well. Again, another soaring kill from Kendall Kipp. Stanford back up by a point, 8-7. They'll sub serving specialist Anna Pringle into the match from La Jolla, California. Pringle was a phenomenal beach volleyball in high school, playing with her current Stanford teammate Julia Blashoff. And the block executed against Jasmine Martin.
Washington State's offense becoming a little predictable here when they get a good pass going to the middle. They have to be able to throw off Stanford's block. You can tell Stanford knows where this ball is going to go. Katie Baird, just textbook block for Stanford.
And the block against Isanovich. Tafunga and Minor stepping up. And a timeout by Washington State.
On Washington State's side, they just look a little predictable. When it's a good pass, they're going to the middle, and when it's out of system, they're going outside. They have to be able to find some production from their hitters in different scenarios.
Take a quick break, step aside. Stanford up by 3 in the second set. And Nicole, this is where the in-match adjustments come into play in a top 5 crucial matchup. You're looking for some more deceptiveness out of this Washington State attack.
Their offense has become a little bit predictable. When they get a good pass, they're going to the middle. When they are out of system, they're going outside. I'd love to see them get Pia Timmer involved in the back row, even on a good pass.
Well, the more cracks that you have, the better you're passing. It makes it easier to mix it up. And not a great pass there.
And
got to find a way to score somehow.
And that is a deception that needs to happen on the Washington State side. They just can't become predictable. They can't just go to the middle. When it's time to go to the middle, they have to find other ways to score, and Argentina has to become an attacker at the front row as well.
She has a background as an attacker earlier in her career, so one thing both setters are really good at. They're both good attackers. It's Kip again, and Stanford is gaining a foothold here. The crowd is as quiet as it's been since the match started. It's as quiet as it's been since about 10 a.m. in this building.
Washington State looking for their footing. They have 3 front row attackers right now. Let's see if they can get a side out from this.
Stanford serve making an impact. Wind up blocking Martin on that attempt to put it over, but make no mistake, that was the serve by Cami Minor that won that point.
It's so important that they just get a good pass. They don't need a great pass. They just need a pass that's in front of the 10-foot line so they can run their offense.
Attacking Logan Golden right now. Minor digs it. Ogilvy's second ball. Here's Baird. And brought home by Martin. So that's kind of an open question as well on the Washington State side. Not as much due to injury, but Jasmine Martin working her way back from multiple ACL tears in previous years. You have Shea Rubright sitting there, Lana Radakovich as well, who will be that M2 for Washington State as the season goes along. Overpass, and Timmer converts.
That's the type of serving that Washington State has to have. They have to get behind that line and just get after it and put some pace behind the ball. They cannot serve lollipop serves because this Stanford offense will come back with a solid attack.
Ryan had the hot hand early, but rejected. You can't say enough about Tafunga. She's not even a middle, and she's playing middle for Stanford right now and playing it pretty well.
Tafunga in the middle on Stanford's side. She knows it's going out of system, puts up a solid block. Makes it tough to defend.
Tafunga has 5 blocks already in the match.
That is the kind of production that you want out of a utility player. Defense wins games, and so if she can get some stops, slow down the ball for her defense, she's doing exactly what she needs to do.
Versatility perhaps running in the family for Malia Tafunga after out of Costa Mesa, California. The Cougars try and climb back in with an ace. Fun fact, Malia's brother Mason played for Stanford men's volleyball and was also a bit of a utility player, playing both setter and opposite. Carly Basham. Her serve handled better that time, but one-on-one, Ryan doing well against Rubin. And now awkward swing, but effective from Yahalajeva. Running into that shot, not good enough by Rubin.
Excellent transition defense for Washington State, trying to get the middles involved. Out of system for Stanford and a block to finish it.
The Cardinal had just led by 4. Now it's back to a 1-point differential. Minor sets low for Rubin, block ready for it. And it should be a point for Washington State.
Got 2 very big blockers on the Washington State side between Katie Ryan and Magda Yahalajeva. Hard to get through when you're out of system on the Stanford side.
And Stanford drops its final timeout at 14-14. We'll take the break as well. Close again in set 2. Number 3 Stanford, number 4 Washington State with Nicole Rigoni, AJ Cannell from Pullman, Washington. The highest ranking in program history for the Cougars. Stanford more accustomed to being at this level. A team that leads all teams in NCAA volleyball with 9 NCAA titles. Also lead the conference all time with 20 Pac-12 titles. Up toward the ceiling it goes. Now, well, Rubin's had a couple of awkward swings trying to keep the ball in play. Can't do it there.
She's in front of such a big block. She's trying to figure out what she has open between Katie Ryan and Magda Yahalajeva. That is a huge block. Look at these hands go up. Elia Rubin trying to figure out what she has open.
And finally, the 5-0 run comes to a close. Well, there are enough great servers across both teams that no one's going to be out of a set. We've seen that in each set so far. Stanford came back late in the first set, forced deuce, and wound up winning at 31-29. Timmer just a bit strong.
A solid swing by Timmer. Just needs a little bit more topspin for that ball to drop inside.
Katie Ryan through the block.
Hard to defend Katie Ryan with that left hand. It is a tough ball to handle when it comes from a lefty.
Is that something where you're not always as familiar with that, blocking a left-hander?
Absolutely. It's like having a left-handed hitter in baseball, left-handed pitcher in baseball. Same thing applies here.
And Rubin misses it. Now the most recent stretch for Rubin, she leads Stanford today with 9 kills, but has had a couple of recent mishits. Both teams now down under 200 for the match. Vicini. So underrated. McKenna Vicini, she is third in the conference in blocks per set, 1.35, hitting .374. Redshirt senior from Lexington, Kentucky. Now it's 17 apiece. Magda Yahalajeva tips it home on the slide.
A very smart play from Magda. They were expecting a big hit by Magda Yahalajeva, but she just changes it up, causes a little off-speed ball, and able to get the kill. Going off of one right here, just barely touches it.
Yahalajeva 5 kills, held to just 231 so far, does have 4 blocks. Great set by Miner, going down low to set up Vicini.
Cami Miner on her knees, setting this ball behind her. This is the type of deception you get from the #1 assist leader in the country. Watch Cami Miner here, get down low, find her middle, and putting Vicini in an excellent spot to score.
Kevin Hambley says if she gets that ball in her hands, it can go anywhere she wants it to go with ease. But the Cougs side out quickly. And Washington State up by a point with Yahalajeva serving. She's gotten better in this aspect of the game throughout her career as a middle. She'll go back there and take this rotation as the server, or half rotation. Again, Baird, so difficult to defend on that cross-court shot.
When Baird doesn't find the line, she knows that hard cross is open. And it is so fun to watch her on that angle. She hits it so sharp. Her thumb goes down on the last second. And it's right in between the 10-foot line and the back half of the court.
Scramble from Washington State. Basham kept it alive. And on the other side, it's Elia Rubin. Martin into the net. Unlucky play from Jasmine Martin.
Credit to Elia Rubin on that dig to keep the ball alive. Argentina Un trying to be deceptive and find the floor, which was an excellent idea from her, but Elia Rubin's defense has improved tremendously.
Got 4 digs. Now Isanovich. Nice shot there. Off a tough set to handle. And this has just been a struggle for every point. Exactly what you would expect. The first set went 31-29 Stanford. At this point, I'd frankly be surprised if this set doesn't go to deuce. On the combo, Baird.
A big-time play from Stanford. Credit our middle and utility player Tafunga going up on that. And Katie Baird at the last second coming out of nowhere and taking care of business.
Kendall Kipp tries to go soft. Kept in play by Tafunga. Baird tried to bash it over, but it goes off the antenna.
What's interesting about this second set is neither team has really gotten a hold of it, and it's coming down to these final plays.
Stanford has been the more aggressive serving team. 6 aces, 9 service errors. Washington State, 1 ace, 1 service error. That's pretty typical for both of these teams, and that is smashed in by Katie Baird. She's been the trump card, it feels like, so far. The difference maker for Stanford. 8th kill, hitting over 400.
Kevin Hambley says, we go as Katie Baird goes, and she has been hitting some cross-court plays on both sides, which is causing a lot of issues for Washington State.
Let's subs out as Stanford commits his 10th service error of the day. Taylor Bevan missing out that time. Now Baird comes back in. So with the Cougs up by a point, Basham is the server. Rubin off the block and down. It's 23 apiece.
Rubin passing that ball up to Cami Minor, and I could hear her yelling, "Send me the ball, give me the ball, I want this, I want that play."
The senior libero Ogilvy, a big situation for her serve. Now Ryan. That's no good. She just missed it. And Jen Greeny uses the final remaining timeout for either team. That was a key point win for Stanford there. Washington State had a chance to side out, get to set point. Instead, Stanford is on set point.
Argentina Unz has got to get her hitters on the net a little bit more so they can be physical. They have talent. They're sizable against this block. So they have got to get that ball on the net so they have more options and have a better vision to attack.
How do you try and make that adjustment as the match goes along? You were a setter, of course. Not only a setter, but a setter at Washington State under this same coaching staff. But if things aren't quite going your way, her sets, as you described them, need to be slightly better. How do you try and make that adjustment?
Communication. Katie Ryan has got to let Argentina know that, hey, get me on the net. I can attack at any angle. And if that communication is taking place, Argentina can put her in a better situation. But the communication is really what takes place in those moments, is that they got to be able to talk to each other and let it be completely unfiltered because they want to win this game, right? There's no reason that they shouldn't have that communication.
In this sport, the setters are the quarterbacks of the offense. They're running the show. There's no better signal caller than Cami Minor. On the Stanford side, leads the nation in assists per set. She is the reigning Pac-12 setter of the year and first team All-American. But Argentina Ung, who's a late bloomer at the position, converted midway through her collegiate career, has had a great year as well.
Cami Minor is really showing how well she runs this Stanford offense. I've been so impressed with the play calling that she's had tonight to cause some confusion against Washington State.
Stanford can go up 2-0 if they win this point. Clips the net. Basham does well enough. Now it's Ryan through the block. What a clutch swing after missing on her previous one.
They made that adjustment. They got her on the net, and she was able to find the hands that she was looking for and attack this ball. Watch our left-handed Katie Ryan here finds the offhand, tools the block.
And again, back to deuce. Norville serves down the line. Minor, Rubin, tips back corner. Isanovich was ready for it. Tip by Timmer. Someone's got to take a swing here. It'll be Kip. Block touch controls. Now Pia Timmer, the 5th year outside. Ogilvy digs. Rubin back the other way. Block was there. Bump set, second ball from and a good one. Timmer with the kill. Washington State on set point.
A big time moment for Pia Timmer. One thing that she's had at this Washington State program is her number's been called in these moments, and she comes up with a big time play.
Timmer with her 5th kill today. Tickles the top of the net, falls over on Washington State side. A chance to win it for Timmer, dug by Ogilvy. Here's Rubin. Basham there with the dig, back on the other side and out. Good decision by Stanford to let that go. And we move along in this second set and play some more.
Pretty familiar to the first set. This is the kind of volleyball that both these teams want to play. Coming down to the wire.
This is just so good. Kip, the server. Bad pass. Rubin, it's down on Washington State side. Cougars couldn't recover from that poor serve receive.
Washington State just has to get a good pass up so they can run their offense. They have 2 great hitters in the front row right now. Let's see what they can put together.
Kip foot faulted. Her foot was on the line as she went into her approach to serve it.
Wow. Not a great time to have that happen, an unforced error in this situation.
Line judge Devin Darrow made the call on the near side. Back to Rubin. Handled by Timmer back there. And they block Yahalajeva. A jovial turnaround celebration by Bacchini and Rubin.
Stanford knew where that ball was going to go. They became a little predictable on Washington. The floor, but Cammie Minor has been putting her in great situations to let her do her job, and she's coming up with some big plays on the blocking end.
Start of set 3. Back to Ryan again. Well, if you had to distill it down into something and really think deeply about what Washington State needs to do to, I mean, it's going to be close no matter what, but how do they make a 2-point loss a 2-point win?
Ball control has to get better. That first ball contact has to be a better ball than what's taking place from the serve receive and in transition, and they've become a little bit predictable on the offense. So they need to pay attention to who's scoring and who is taking care of the ball. Pia Timmer's doing a great job, but number 5, Iman Asanovic, they can get her going a little bit more and put her in better situations.
Oh, that was clever. Argentina on with the dump.
She's been quiet all night from the attacking side. Originally was an outside hitter, so that is something that is adding to this offense, is when she can attack, it's going to cause some issues on Stanford's side.
Here's Yahalajeva on the slide. First two sets, it's felt almost like, regardless of the roadmap, no matter how we were going to get there, that this was headed toward deuce. I mean, we'll see how this unfolds, but it's just really tough to shut either of these sides down for the whole set.
This is all about what Washington State's program is. They fight till the end, so we'll see what they can come up with in this third set.
And they block Timmer. But a violation called on Stanford. The Cardinal into the net, and Washington State gets a freebie. It's 4-1. Kip Norville nearly kept it up.
One of my favorite plays that Stanford's put together is when Kendall Kipp comes out of that back row and attacks the Bick. So hard to defend.
Back row swing, Timmer.
And that is the type of setting and deception that needs to happen from Argentina Ung. She went to the outside, got blocked, they picked it up, and she threw it back to the Bick. Here, Pia Timmer getting the ball. Watch Argentina Ung throw this back to Pia Timmer. That's exactly what needs to happen on Washington State's side.
Yeah, historically in her career, we've seen a lot of Timmer swinging in the back row. Haven't probably had to quite as much this year when you add an option like Ivanovic. On the overpass, it's Ivanovic.
She is so fun to watch. She has so much energy when the ball comes her way, and even when she gets blocked, she still gets after it. Watch her take care of this overpass. Have a ball, Iman.
She's in double figures along with Ryan now, each with 10 kills. And Ivanovic off the block and down and out.
Finding a way to score. Ivanovic. Does not matter who is in front of her.
I know they're trailing 7-2 right now in this set. I've really been impressed with Stanford's ball control today. It's exactly what you would expect from a team that gets aced less than once a set. Timmer has to do everything to get that over the net. And Baird. That diagonal effort from Katie Baird. Yet to see really someone stop it consistently.
At this level, ball control is so important because if you're not able to control that first contact, whether that's in transition or serve receive, you can't run your offense. So it just shows that the little plays mean the most.
I mean, they have all the weapons in the world, but I think that ball control is the foundation for everything they do. We're seeing Argentina get a little more deceptive, dumps that one over. Stanford not ready for it.
That's the kind of deception that needs to take place from Argentina Ung because she's been quiet all night. And they haven't been honoring her as an attacker.
Ung's been really good defensively, though, with 10 digs. Just misses that time. Working on a double-double already.
Smart play by Cami Minor. Argentina Ung was back serving, and she knew that she had to come up. Throws that ball down. Those little moments make a difference to get the ball back.
Second kill for Minor to go along with 36 assists. Oh, yeah, you would think if you're Ivanovic that your setter would be the one to take it. But Ung felt like she wasn't close enough, and so the miscommunication. I'll take a beat here, wipe off the court. With some help from the down referee, Ronald Pelham. First referee, Paula Martin, overseeing things. Great officiating crew here today for this number 3 versus number 4 matchup. Nicole Rigoni, AJ Cannell with you from Pullman. bashed in. Lana Radakovic coming into the rotation in place of Jasmine Martin.
That's exactly what needs to happen. A tight ball, going to the middle, throwing off the Stanford block.
Nothing out of the norm. We've seen Washington State tinker around with different middles throughout the season. Radakovic didn't play in the sweep win over Cal last time, but she did appear in 3 of the 4 sets at Oregon previously. There's Radakovic again.
Argentina finding Radakovic. That is huge for this Washington State offense. They've got to get the ball to their middles when it's not the perfect pass, so they can open up the options for the pin hitters when it's time.
Radakovic, a first-year grad transfer from UC Davis. First-generation American, both parents from Serbia. But she was born and raised in San Francisco, as it is Yahalajeva that time with Timmer on the block.
Heck of a block from Pia Timmer. She's trying to get this crowd back into it. Watch Pia Timmer along the net getting Kendall Kitt's space.
That's got to feel good anytime you can get one against the reigning Pac-12 Player of the Year. Long ready for the tip. Radakovic took the second ball, and the shot was out. Nearly a middle assist there, but not quite for Washington State. Big time serve there by Ogilvy. She's really come out swinging behind the service line from the very start of this match.
Letting it rip when she's behind the service line. This ball has some side spin on it, which can make it so hard to pass. And not only does it just drop into the court at the last second.
She's got 2 aces. Well done by Isanovic there on the combo. Timmer goes line and just out.
A beautiful set from Argentina. There getting the no block up for Pia Timmer to try to explode, but Pia Timmer did not execute in this play.
Yeah, she had the look she wanted, but just missed it. And another huge serve by Ogilvy.
She is going for it behind this service line. Absolutely letting her rip. You can tell she's got the hot hand right now back there.
That's a fear-inspiring serve right now. Working on 2 aces during this run, 3 overall. And another football. Stanford's second football. They foot-faulted on set point, still wound up winning set 2.
Extremely rare to see footfalls happen in any of these matches, truly. They're really just going for it and jumping maybe a little bit higher than they typically do from the service line.
Norville's serve gets the overpass, and that's too easy for Yahalajeva. Julia Norville with her 11th assist, or 11th ace of the season. And she's one of the true underrated players on the Washington State side. Been here for 5 years now. Probably would be the libero on a lot of teams. Good dig by Norville. Timmer, not a solid choice there to go for the tip. So Rubin has to roll it over. Now on the slide, Yahalajeva, Washington State is clicking.
Couple big time plays from Julia Norville, keeping her team in it. Jen Greeny loves how she defends these balls. Look at that. Great eye work, and Argentina getting a nice set to Magda Yahalajeva.
Back to Bacchini. You know, Bacchini, we talked about how underrated she is. And the numbers have been there today. 4 blocks, now 8 for 12 with no errors as an attacker.
She's such a hard worker as a middle. She is always up calling for the ball, and that makes it difficult to defend because when the ball does come her way, she's doing something smart with it.
Back row, Isanovich. Heads up play, Elio Rubin. Jen Greeny arguing that that ball was played on the wrong side of the net.
Tough call.
Rubin tries for the line, misses, and it's 15-12, and it's a timeout on the floor. Well, similar script all 3 sets. It's been close. It's gone to deuce, but we'll see if Washington State can gain some separation here in the third. Now it's 15-12 in the third set. Number 4 Washington State on top of number 3 Stanford. Do you think the Cougars have what it takes here to prevent this third set from becoming another deuce fest?
I would never count the Cougars out. They are known for coming back in any set, no matter what the situation is, and they just got to become more creative in their offense to extend the lead a little bit further.
There's the resume for Washington State. If they win today, it'll be the best conference start in program history. Well, it's already tied for that. You go back to 1996 when Jen Greeny was playing. 14-match winning streak right now. They have not lost since August 26th at number 4 Louisville. It's been since September 12th that Stanford has lost. That was against number 4 Nebraska at home. Just 3 total losses between the 2 teams. That hit a hand. It did. That was close, actually, from just tape. Well, it called out off the block.
Super close call. Didn't look like there may have been a touch from the Stanford block. Kevin Hambly challenging this.
Well, if you're Kevin Hambly there, you don't have a great view of it, but he's got to go off of what his player says.
That's one thing that has been implemented in volleyball is that you have to be really honest with your coach in plays like this. Before, they would just say, no, I didn't touch it, but now, because of this challenging, you have to be so honest. And there has to be a trust between the players and the coaches. There might have been a touch by Cami Minor.
It looked like you got her arm.
Yep.
But those challenges can be very valuable. You get to, if you win it, you keep it. And if you're a player, maybe your emotions get the better of you for a moment, but you got to be able to tell your coach not to challenge it if you really know you didn't touch it, but hard to tell there. I'm not certain. One of those plays where it would be a 2-point swing. You take a point off the board for Washington State, put one on the board for Stanford. And the call on the court is confirmed. There was a touch there from Cami Minor. And so Kevin Hambly now uses one challenge, doesn't get it right, so he only has one left. You do get an extra starting in the 5th set if it gets to that point. So the Cougars by 4. Down 2-0. Smart shot by Vicini.
So impressed with her attacking. She knows when to hit the ball extremely hard, and she knows when to drop a tip in and a change up. Something that doesn't get talked enough about her is how intelligent of a middle blocker she is.
How late do you have to make that decision to go soft like that if you're a hitter?
Well, she's watching the block, and she's watching where the ball is coming from and who is serving.
On the block was ready for Yahalajeva's effort. Has this gone as you've expected mostly so far? Obviously Stanford is winning 2-0, but just in general how close it's been, the way things specifically have transpired.
Absolutely. This is the kind of match that I completely expected from both these teams. Washington State is still in this. They're still playing really good, and they have the lead right now.
With a big ripper. Yeah, I mean, if you're just tuning in now and you're just looking at our scoreboard graphic on your screen, it doesn't really do it justice. Stanford took the first set in a comeback effort, 31-29. Got to remember, these sets are played to 25 and then go to deuce from there. Got to win by 2. And then second set, 29-27 Stanford. So some super dramatic moments in the first 2 sets.
A play to look out for in this rotation for Stanford is Kendall Kipp coming out of the back row and hitting the bic. Let's keep our eyes on Kipp in this play.
Well, you can't do that if you can't pass it. Stanford's been pretty sterling for the most part, ball control, but not there. And Coach Hambly calls time.
Washington State has extended this lead because they've been less predictable on the offensive side, and they've been serving a lot tougher, just going at it from the baseline.
So the Cougs up by 4. We'll keep it here for you. Stanford uses its first timeout of the set. Taking a look at the Washington State huddle gives us a chance to think about, you know, Washington State getting the program to this point. You were here playing for Jen Greeny and Burdette Greeny, the husband and wife duo, when you transferred in, and just tell me about, you know, what they've been able to do, how hard it's been, first of all, to build this program up here with limited resources, and how they've been able to do it.
Well, day in and day out, we're in the gym more than anybody else, and ball control was something that was really important when I was here, and it's still really important because they're going up against the top talent in the country in this Pac-12 conference. Stanford is a program that year after year, they get the top recruits in the nation. Washington State just doesn't have that luxury, so you've got to be better at the fundamentals more than anything else.
Yeah, Burdette made a comment about how they have all these international players, 8 on the roster, and how people sometimes will make a remark about that and take a little bit of a side swipe at it, but you're saying it's by necessity. They have to find talent from somewhere. Sometimes that's not always possible in the States. Talking about the long saga of having to bring in, recruit and re-recruit back to Yahalajeva and all the effort that he put in.
And let's get one thing straight. At Washington State, it is a special program and a special community. The support that these athletes have, there's not a lot of places in the country that can replicate it.
Yeah, it's hard to understand it if you haven't been here in this building. Get this type of environment where you, like, the fans are up practically in the ceiling in this standing room only crowd. They said they had the fire marshal in here this week, inspecting, putting out tape, telling people where they're allowed to go, expecting the capacity or over capacity crowd. Around the middle, Rogtakovic.
A really important side out for Washington State there to extend the lead and get a good pass. They want the ball in Argentina hands because now they have 3 attackers in the front row.
And the upside, if you're a collegiate athlete here in this town, like you were describing it, you're kind of a rock star. when things are going your way, compared to maybe somebody in a bigger city. Kendall Kipp, kill number 9, but she's been substandard in terms of her efficiency, hitting under 100.
They have contained Kendall Kipp, and it's just come down to the wire for Washington State and Stanford. But right now, this side out for Washington State is extremely important.
Just in on this serve. Cami Miner picks up Stanford's 9th ace.
What a tough serve from Cami Miner. Washington State had to make a decision on the last moment. And when it's tight like that, you just got to get the ball up and available for the setter.
Isanovich, big smack. Basham runs all the way back for to track it down. Free ball. Miner, Baird on the combo.
The block for Washington State looking a little confused and not as in sync as they typically are. A big hole for Katie Baird to go right through.
I mean, no disrespect to Tafunga, but don't you want to perhaps let her beat you there if they want to set her? When you got Katie Baird out there, again late to get over on Baird, look out, hits the ceiling, Basham plays it off the ceiling. Now Kipp, it's dug with a block touch there as well, dug by Argentina Og. And it's a huge point victory for Washington State and Isanovich.
That is the grit that this Washington State team has on their defense. They're keeping it alive. Watch Carly Basham stay with this ball, keeping it alive while it goes back and forth in the rafters. And Iman taking care of business in a big moment.
That ball was headed out of play for sure. Took a friendly deflection off the ceiling for WSU. Now it's Kipp. Off the block and out. Kill for Timmer. Kevin Hambly taking a look. And will use his final timeout. What a response. It looked like Stanford was potentially in position to get right back in another set in a comeback effort. Maybe they still will be, but Washington State up by 3 late in the third. Now, if you're Katie Baird and Stanford, you're thinking, how can we steal one here? Just get out of here and hop a flight back to Northern California. But Washington State saying, stay for a while. Make yourselves at home.
A do or die situation for this Washington State team in this third set. These next 4 points are crucial.
And it's the veteran first-year transfer from Arizona State, Iman Isanovich, who had the serve. It's off the block and out, and a kill for Kendall Kipp. You're not just going to put away Stanford with any type of ease, even in an individual set. The Cardinal have dropped just 1 set this year in league play. Cougars have dropped just 3. Both teams 5-0 in conference. Rubin misfires.
Almost taking me out on the misfire.
Felt like you were ducking behind me a little bit there, Nicole.
I was.
Next time, how about you just knock it away?
I've taken too many balls to the face in my day. Welcome,
I don't know if
AJ.
you're going to let me take a couple.
Yeah.
Fair play. And Radokovic gets a serve, and a good one. That got tipped off the antenna, and the Cougars are closing in set 3.
A dogfight this match has been. The Cougars have done everything to keep the ball alive defensively, and now they're going after it from the service line.
Even though she's kind of the third middle at times on this team, Radokovic has served quite a few balls this year, 11 aces this year. Rubin has to tip there. Now Ryan has been quieter lately. And another big swing off the block from Kendall Kipp.
Kendall Kipp been a little quiet, but that doesn't matter. She is still taking rips.
Kipp is the youngest of four, and I mean the youngest. Sister Casey was born in 1989, played at UC Santa Barbara. Her sister Conley, born in 1991, played at Washington State. So I wonder what side Conley is on today. Ryan is roofed. It's Bacchini and Rubin coming up with the 13th team block for Stanford, which is back within 2.
Stanford not going away, a perfectly in sync block, and wow, what a move by Elia Rubin.
Coach Hambly told us her blocking is so much better this year. Timmer, I think she got a piece there. She thinks she did, but no. Jen Greeny thinking about it, but is not going to challenge, it looks like.
I don't think she got a piece of this. Let's see if she did. Nope,
no,
she didn't.
Right. It just looked a little weird coming off the hand, but she was going for a high flat swing and misfired. Ogilvy has the big serve, and that's the break that Washington State needed, just out. There was no stopping that. That was just either going in or out. Nothing that Washington State could do. Fortunately for the Cougs, it went out, and they have 2 set points.
Huge point for Washington State here to stay alive.
The 5th-year DS from Orangeville, CA. Norville served it. Kipp is blocked. Kept in play. Minor, Rubin rolls it short and in. That vulnerable middle of the court keeping Stanford in play in the 3rd.
A smart play by Stanford. They were expecting a big swing, and they didn't get it.
And now 2 service errors by Stanford late in the set end up making the difference.
Washington State staying alive. They got more deceptive on their offense, and their serving came in clutch for them.
Washington State keeps their hopes alive. 25-23 in the 3rd. Stanford takes the first 2 sets at deuce. Washington State wins the 3rd set also by just 2 points. It's been as close as it can get so far, and we head to the 4th. AJ Cannell with Nicole Rigoni inside Bullard Gym. Here, sold out facility in Pullman, Washington. Magda Yahalajeva, perhaps the best middle in the country. And let's see what she's done so far today.
Coming up with some big plays. Iman Asanovic with the overpass. And Iman getting the out of system play.
I guess we're seeing Iman.
And making things happen.
Iman Isanovic's also pretty good at what she does. Outside hitter. Transferred in from Arizona State. Her final 3 years of high school, she left her family to pursue a better education and volleyball training at a boarding school in Slovenia. She's originally from Bosnia. And her travels eventually taking her to Arizona, which she said she had never heard of growing up in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I'm quite sure if she'd never heard of Arizona, she had not heard of Pullman.
I was hoping you were going to say that. Absolutely. Temperatures a little bit different.
Probably more.
There is nothing similar between Arizona and Pullman.
I mean, I wonder if this is kind of more the comforts of home. If you grew up in Bosnia, in terms from a climate perspective.
Yeah.
Probably Pullman's more similar to Bosnia than Tempe.
So impressed with the Washington State defense. They really kept the ball alive and causing some issues for Stanford's offense. Let's see who's going to come out big in this 4th set.
Cougs going to start out with Radakovic as the server. Like to start out with Magda Halajeva, left front, of course. Get her at the maximum rotations in the front row. After that one rattled around, Timmer tries to go cross court with it and can't keep it in play.
She's been missing that shot just a little bit. Not enough topspin on the ball to keep it in play, and it's out by just a foot.
Ogilvy doing it all on that point. Great serve, had a dig, had an assist.
Elia Rubin has been finding the floor in moments where I didn't even see a hole in the block. Very impressed with her attacking tonight.
Rubin up to 16 kills, a precocious sophomore. Already looks like a senior out there. This time Ogilvy misses the mark. Not a great pass from Rubin, and as a result, it's a point by Washington State. Yep.
Kevin Hambley disputing this point. He thinks the ball was on their side.
Well, you have a front row setter, right? So I was thinking maybe it's because it was
back row.
Miner's back row.
Miner is back row right now. There
Well,
are
then
three
Okay.
attackers.
Well, then there you go. So that's, to me, that's the reason for it. That had to have been the reason for that call then.
If you keep the ball on your side, though, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what Kevin was saying.
Questionable call.
Yeah, because, I mean, do you have the right to that second ball? Usually, yes. But I guess it was close enough to, and it being over the net, that Washington State could legally play it. Anyways, this is a point for Stanford. I think that's the differentiator. If that ball was still all the way on Stanford's side, it'd be a point for Stanford. But that was fair game because it was across the top of the net, and then you have a back row setter playing it. Anyways, moving on. It's Timmer, dug by Ogilvy, her 24th dig, and a double contact is called. A rare call, but more likely to be watching that at least when it's a non-setter going for it. That time it's called on Rubin. Really evolved that rule over the years, Nicole. I bet you wish it was called so leniently now, double contact.
You have no idea.
Well, not a terrible idea, but couldn't execute. Saw both setters go for it on the same point, and ultimately Ung commits the error.
Right idea for Ung, just could not find the footing to get that ball over the net.
Ogilvy with a decent read if that one had gotten over. Looked like she was there for it. Pushed outside. Isanovich. Over dig. Magda. One of the best wins of the season by probably any team in college volleyball. Washington State winning at number 6 Texas. Halajeva had 12 kills and 9 blocks in that one. There'll be a kill for Katie Baird as Washington State couldn't get it over in 3. If you missed off the top, you're tuning in more recently again. This one just feels like it means a little bit extra the highest ever rated matchup in this building. Washington State has had to grind and work to get their program to this point. They have a bunch of fifth-year seniors who all decided to come back for their COVID year and have their highest ranking in program history, playing perennial powerhouse Stanford in a matchup of two of the top 4 teams in Pullman.
You can tell how much this match means to Washington State. Jen Greeny fighting for every single point with these refs. I mean, it runs deep. They really want to prove that they belong as that number 4 seed, and they're fighting until the very last moment. Every point counts, especially when it comes down to the wire.
Get some clarity here on what they might be challenging. Touches the block. Wasn't kept. So the call was it wasn't a pancake.
Yeah.
I see. So Jen Greeny using her first challenge. Kevin Hambley 0 for 1 so far.
It looked like the ball was up to me. Jen Greeny trying to get this crowd fired up.
Well, it looks like challenge was unsuccessful because Stanford's going to serve this. Both teams have whiffed on a challenge. Each have 1 remaining until the 5th set if we go there. It is Radakovich who came in as a sub for Martin midway through.
What a response from her. A perfect pass from Pia Timmer going to the middle. One-on-one Radakovich unloading.
She's on a bit of a heater right now. The UC Davis transfer 4 for 5 since checking in. Had some good serves as well. Minor, they were ready for her. Baird blasts.
A smart play by Katie Baird. Had a little side spin on that, going towards the line, tooling the block. Her knowledge of the game has really excelled. Not only has her ball control gotten better, but that's where it gets better in moments like that. It's not only just down low passing, it's the way she can handle a ball when she attacks.
Katie Ryan getting a piece of the block and a Baird. Katie Ryan, a player that Jen Greeny has commented occasionally reminds her of herself. Former high school basketball player, late bloomer. So the Cougars have to win their 2nd set in a row to send this to the 5th, which would be played to 15. This set, again, going to 25. Win by 2. Another scrambling effort off the block touch against Kip, but the Cougars couldn't get that ball up. They've been really good, though, I think, Washington State, getting hands on a lot of these swings, especially from Kip, who's only hitting 122.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
There you go. I'll handle it from here then, Nicole. You can just... That's an ace.
Both these outsides for both teams know that they're targets. They're going to get majority of the balls because either side is going after the outsides to wear them down, to get them out of their rhythm. But the best outsides love it when they get targeted. They want the ball to come to them.
You have a block that is this good on each side. You have to spend a lot of time hitting off the block. Katie Ryan does it there. Her 12th kill, hitting over 300. Ryan's efficiency is so good for a right side or for any pin hitter. She's hitting 339 in the season, top 10 in the league. There's another great Cami Minor set. Radakovich got that up on the pancake. 2 pancakes, same point. We're cooking breakfast here. Kip says, where's the maple syrup?
Are we flipping pancakes? Are we having maple syrup? Are we adding blueberries to this mix too?
Would that be your preferred blueberry?
Blueberry pancakes for sure.
About a little chocolate chip in there?
It's a little too sweet, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but get me in the right mood and maybe I'm up for it. I regret it afterwards. Off the block, Rubin.
Elena Olgavid running down that ball, making it look so easy and giving the perfect pass to Cami Miner. Out to Elia Rubin. This transition is beautiful. Look at that. Makes it look easy. Cami Miner in system to Elia Rubin off the block. Handled so well in transition.
We've just seen a multifaceted effort from the Cardinal. They're really excelling at all levels of the game. Serve and pass, digging, setter play, libero play, hitting.
They have to pull out all of those special plays that these players do. Not very often do you get to see them really show off their full athleticism, and in this match they have to.
You're saying it's usually just relatively easy for this Stanford Cardinal team. Washington State and the veteran leadership, the coaching staff, and the talent, and this environment not going to let it be easy today. But Kendall Kipp makes it 11-8, and now we'll take it back for the serve. Overpass. Timmer, no. And Washington State in trouble. I don't know if they're going to use this challenge. It'll be their last. Coach Greeny is going to listen to her player.
I don't know if there was a touch on that ball. But they're using it as a timeout. They're talking it over.
It's an extra timeout. Potentially could steal you kind of 2 timeouts because you could get to the media timeout at 15 as well.
Yeah, there was no touch on this ball. No. If anything, there might have been a net.
On Timmer or on?
On Stanford.
Well, that is reviewable too. You can't review every aspect of a point, but you can review every aspect of the terminal part of the point in NCAA volleyball replay rules. Take a look at it one more time, maybe, see if now that we're looking for the net. We'll get the side view, maybe.
The net is bouncing a bit. I can't tell if they're blocked. No, there's no net there either.
So they will get to use it as an extra timeout. There's where that was still rattling from. Good job by our crew finding that one.
Yeah, thank you, crew.
David Hasselfeld back in studio. But Pia Timmer wasn't lying.
Wow.
Touch call.
Wow. We did not see a touch on that play at all.
Got to keep in mind that they might have access to other angles, other views that we don't in this DV Sport replay system. And that's a huge 2-point swing instead of a 4-point Stanford lead.
Wow.
Washington State back within 2, and they keep their final challenge.
That makes a huge difference for Washington State's momentum.
Vicini, slide, Basham digs, free ball over. Back road, Kipp, it's blocked, put back up, and hammered home. Rubin when you need her.
Rubin having such a good night. She's barely finding the hands at all against the Washington State block, but she's finding the floor.
Yeah, most of the hitters have taken a different approach. Rubin's been keeping it clean, getting it to the floor, misses the serve though. How much of it comes down to personal preference as a hitter? How much of it comes down to what the defense is giving you?
Well, at this level, when your libero is telling you what's open, that makes a huge difference because sometimes you can't even see it. It's happening so fast.
Good set, Baird. Again, the block touch has been on point for WSU. Kip back roll, and into the tape and out.
A pass to attack for Kendall Kipp. She dug this ball up, got ready to hit, and was able to terminate. And the reason why I say that, by the way, with these hitters, is when you have a libero like Elena Olgavid, who used to be an outside hitter, she knows what these outside hitters are looking for. So that's a huge benefit for Stanford's outside hitters.
Kipp picks up her 15th kill. What a dig by Timmer. And Washington State into the net. Timmer can't believe it. 2 strong efforts in a row.
Unforced errors like this in this match are so tough. Can really extend a lead for another team. You've got to play without having unforced errors. And when you make an error, it better be because you were going for it, not because you were making a play like that that's a little reckless along the net.
It's a pretty big point right here. You got to factor in. If Stanford can win this point, they go into the media timeout 15-10.
A tough lead to come back from.
That would seem daunting for Washington State. Want to at least nab a point or two before that 15 timeout. It will be 15-10. Couldn't really connect on the set to Radakovic. And Stanford is in position to close this out in 4, but still opportunities left for Washington State. It's 15-10. Stanford up 2-1 in sets. Number 3, Stanford. They broke the huddle early. Washington State still believes, but Stanford in control, 15-10. You seeing anything different here in the 4th set, or kind of more of the same story?
It comes down to ball control, really. Like, the blocking hasn't been as tight as it's typically been on the Washington State side, which is causing some issues for the defense. And then serve receive, they've been aced a little bit more in this set. And when they are getting touches, they aren't quality touches.
Really different approach, I think, defensively in terms of digging. For Stanford, it's been a lot of Ogilvy, 25 digs. Washington State, when they've been humming in transition, it's been off of block touches. But the Cougars have double-figure digs from 4 different players, led by 15 from their setter, Argentina Ung. Cougars got to turn this around right now to stay in the match. Norville, great dig. Great overhand dig. There's a collision and a break for Washington State. Miner couldn't get there. She was sidetracked by her teammate.
Argentina serving.
This is that rotation where Kendall Kipp can potentially come hit the Bick out of the back row. Nope, she's going to the right side.
Oh, she's got the ball.
Wow.
She'll take a D-ball kill.
That is a beautiful play that Stanford runs. And they run it probably better than anybody in the country. You've got to keep your eyes on Kendall Kipp. She comes from the middle back, swings over to the right side, barely has anybody up. The blocker's got to pay attention to her in the back row.
Ryan out. And the Cougars have both timeouts left. I think we're going to see one. Or was it a touch? Point Washington State. I'll eat my words. This set has been at a couple different moments on the verge of getting out of hand. Still a chance for the Cougs. Katie Baird puts Stanford back up by 5.
Got to be able to convert that into a dig for the Washington State program. It was right at her. If you get attacked and it's right at you at this level, you got to be able to convert it into a solid dig and not a spray.
Standards are high against this Stanford team in particular. Right now, it just feels like Stanford sucking the life out of the building. Another kill for Rubin. That's her 20th.
Elia Rubin is pounding the ball right now. So impressed by her performance tonight. She is letting a rip. And she's having fun, you can tell. Look at her.
A huge 20 and 10 double-double from Rubin. Player who is so decorated at the club level. She won the Open Division Championship, the highest level of club volleyball, twice, and was the MVP twice for Sunshine Volleyball Club. Went out of Brentwood, California.
Numbers like 255 for a match as an outside hitter. You're having an incredible evening because you're taking so many swings out of system, in system. I mean, she's doing her job and more.
Normally that would be the part of the roster where the opposing team can attack. I mean, you have a fifth year in Katie Baird on one side, another fifth year as the right side pin, Kendall Kipp. Rubin's a younger pin on the outside as their OH2, but she's at times been their best hitter and has been tonight, or this afternoon.
The numbers on Stanford's offense right now, with McKenna Vicini hitting 562, Katie Baird at 471. Hard to play defense against that. They're finding a way to score.
Baird has been unreal. Talk about efficiency from the outside. 17 kills, 1 error, 471. Mentioned Vicini as well. You know, Washington State, they've been pretty good in a lot of aspects of the game. They haven't underperformed by any means tonight, but they're learning, I think, the level that it takes against a team that's as talented as Stanford. I'm sure there's more that Washington State feels like they can do to reach this level. They're learning that tonight. Ryan Block, it just sails out off the sideline, and the Cougars have the serve now down 5.
A solid choice from Argentina to use Katie Ryan as much as she can, as long as she's in this match in the front row.
14th kill for Ryan, 391 in the match. Radakovic serves. Easy side out for Kendall Kipp. Right now, it just feels like Stanford, they're doing what they want.
Kendall Kipp got a little quiet in those first 2 sets, but now she's looking smooth and she is not caring who is in front of her.
Almost feels like a down day for Kipp, and she has 17 kills. That's the level she's playing at. Off the block and out for Magda Yahalajeva.
Washington State's going to have to rattle off some points in this serve receive. It is so important for them to get a few points if they want to stay in this 4th set.
Got to generate some poor touches here off aggressive serves. There's no other way to do it. At this stage, when you're down by 5, backs against the wall, down 2-1 in sets. Big serve by Norville. There you go. So they can anticipate the ball is going to Rubin. It's got to go back to her again. And the block is there again.
Those are the kind of plays that got to be made. The eye work on Washington State's side from the block was solid, but it really started from the serve from Julia Norville. Watch this block from Washington State, completely closed up. Not a lot of room to get through.
You know the crowd will come alive if the Cougars can get a couple of more points and get back in the set. Kipp goes slow. They're ready for Vicini. Basham's second ball. Timmer takes the angle, dug out by Ogilvy. Now Rubin mishits it. Timeout, Kevin Hambley.
An appropriate time to call a timeout. He does not want these Cougs to get on a string of points.
This is the type of day it's been so far. Hard to put either team away. 4th set. So Washington State on a 3-0 scoring run to get back in the 4th set. And Nicole, this Cougar team is a team that is displaying a lot of trust, you're saying, in their teammates, not necessarily leaning on one player at a critical juncture.
You're exactly right, AJ. Julia Norville is that example. She's getting called into the game And she's putting up some really tough serves, and each one of these players are shining at a different moment that's been impactful for the Washington State team.
You know, probably the best player for the Cougars is Magda Yalajeva in the middle, but you can't always be setting your middle. So on a team like that, you have to rely on your balance a lot of the time. Huge point off of Stanford's timeout. Tough set for Isanovich. Kip finally gets a good swing on the ball. This is the first real swing in the point, and it cashed in. You can tell when players get tight, coach's a big pet peeve is the tip. They don't like when players over tip in big points. Good dig by Isanovich. Back to Rubin, got it down on Washington State's side. The lead is 5.
Elia Rubin having a night. She is swinging so tough, hardly throwing in any chip shots at all or any off-speed plays because she's got the hot hand.
Is off the block and out.
Kendall Kipp with a big dig during that rally.
And Washington State uses timeout.
One thing Kevin Hambly said is when they got her, she couldn't even pass a free ball, and now she is an all-around opposite. She's digging, she's passing, she's serving, she's obviously blocking and attacking, but she's doing it from every aspect in her game.
I thought she was a little off balance on that point, on that final swing, and still figured out a way to terminate. I also think that Stanford learned something from the Washington match. Washington was the first conference team to take a set off of Stanford this year, and Kevin Hambly made a specific comment about he wants to see his players be content to play into a rally more. Like, you don't have to shoot to score every time. Thought they were missing some swings, had some attack errors that were unnecessary, gifted some points to Washington. I feel like being tested against the Huskies and specifically on that teaching point has really helped Stanford today. They've been in some really big rallies and come out on the right side.
Stanford's had to really step up in this match. They've had to play a lot tougher than they had the beginning of conference play. They've had to pull out some excellent defense. Everybody's been serving very tough. Super impressed with Tammy Miner's decision making. I mean, she's got guns everywhere, but just because you have weapons everywhere doesn't mean you're not going to put them in the best situation possible. And she's working her tail off with diving sets and throwing the ball pin to pin. I mean, she leads the nation in assists for a reason.
She's up to 57 assists late in the fourth set. Hitting error for Yahalajeva.
A bit of a low set from Argentina. Yahalajeva trying to make it work, but in that instance, she might have just needed to get the ball over the net.
Stanford closing in on their 24th straight conference win. Kipp soaring in the air for the kill.
What a attack from Kendall Kipp. You could hear how loud it was. The crowd couldn't believe this power that Kendall Kipp had behind that ball.
That was the exclamation point. Tammy Miner's 58th assist, 2 off a career best. All right, so the task at hand for Washington State is 6 in a row on match point. Had an earlier service run, really early in the match from Basham, but perfect pass. Minor, Baird, that's the match. Stanford visits number 4 Washington State and wins in 4. What a performance by the Cardinal in a hostile environment.
They were firing at all cylinders, and every single one of their weapons came alive at the right time. Stanford looked really efficient from the service line. Their defense was solid. They played excellent.
Kevin Hambly has spoken about how much he appreciates and respects what Jen and Burdette have done with this Washington State program. He understands how difficult it is to win here, and I think Kevin Hambly knows just how good his team is right now and what they might have in store for NCAA volleyball the rest of the season. There could be multiple rematches potentially of this one. We know they'll meet up later on in Palo Alto, but for now, Stanford takes down Washington State 3-1. For Nicole Rigoni, our entire Pac-12 Network crew, AJ Cannell saying so long from Bowler.